With Kirby's recent resurgence in popularity, I decided I'd go back and play one of the only Kirby games I hadn't beaten yet. Kirby 64 and the 64... Kirby 60... What the hell's the name of this game? Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. So like pretty much any game in existence, Kirby's minding his own goddamn business, gets bopped in the head from a fairy that needs help with a crystal. And they need to make that crystal bigger. I don't really need to explain much more because it's a Kirby game, but I'm gonna go into the game's mechanics real quick. This game features a unique way to do abilities. So you see you have your first ability, and then you can spit that out and throw it at a different ability, and then combine them. So there's only 7 abilities total, which means there's only so many combinations, but you can put them together, and I'm not gonna go through every ability, but I'm just gonna let you know they're really cool, and I'll let you know when we get to one. Throughout each stage, there are 3 crystal collectibles to collect, but I'll get into that later. At the end of the first stage, we get to learn the origin story of Waddle Doo, though, and how he's actually just a Waddle Dee. Everyone knew that, right? Also, he can yeet you. In the second stage, we get to find what I think is my favorite combination in the game. You mix fire and bomb, and you get firework. Oh my god, you make fireworks. That's super cool. I also definitely didn't lose that immediately. So it turns out for the combo, there are 3 hits, and if you use the last one, it'll put you in a ton of stun and you're going to hit the ground, even if there isn't any. We then destroy the artwork of another college student. They join our team for some reason, and we go and storm DDD's castle. After literally exploding DDD, he deflates and pops out a crystal. And the boss of World 1, like most Kirby games, is a 3D wispy woods. But in this game, he looks so much more like a carrot. We then travel to the planet Rockstar, and I was still going to be fireworking through the entire desert until I lost it all. I then, after losing it all, found my 3rd favorite ability in the game, Spear and Cutter. It just looks so funny. You're just going clomp. You're like a crab. Snippity snap. You are now the crab. And then we get to a section where there's a recurring theme. You'll notice that Hammer's not among the normal abilities, but you can ride on DDD and have Hammer. So, you know, they have to have it in somewhere. After sinking to the bottom of the earth, we suddenly arrive on the surface somehow. You know, you go down to go up, and then we board an enemy spaceship and get to fight RGB Geometry, which I definitely didn't have a close call with. Following beating Geometry, DDD will come and grab Kirby and tell him he's on a diet, and Kirby's just sad. If you want to become a sucker like Kirby, hit the subscribe button. So bad! But then we end up at Aquastar, which we immediately die on. We also get the Fire Sword, which is really cool because it's just this blade that stands behind you and is an active hitbox behind you. So you can just like turn around repeatedly and it'll just hurt things. Also, if you have it out, you cannot jump, which is important to note. We go into the sea caves to explore and then we eventually end up above a waterfall. And this here is my 2nd favorite ability. Kirby straight up becomes Darth Maul. This is so cool. It's an active hitbox and it has a really weird, but like good weird kind of hitbox where it hits like above and below. So it's just big, just cone that's just always out in front of Kirby. We then spend the rest of our time sliding down boxes and waterfalls, jumping on tree trunks, and then exploring the seafloor. Then we arrive at the boss. It's a killer whale, and I just sliced it up with my lightsaber until I hit a bit of an issue. Much like with the Fire Sword, you can't float if you have it, but that also means you can't swim. And when the floor is falling below you, I didn't have enough time to put my sword away because I had accidentally attacked out of me waiting for the stage to be over. But after grabbing a trusty firework, we made short work of him. So after this, we stare at the sea, choose violence, but then the waves choose violence too, and we end up at Neostar. Do you know George of the Jungle? We are George. Then we get to play some Donkey Kong Country with our bud Waddle Kong. Then we end up in a volcano. Also, why? Then we get to escape the chasing magma and arrive at a boss that I'm gonna call Goop, because I don't know what else to call him. And I brought a lightning rod to this fight, which works phenomenally for phase 1. But phase 2 comes around and I can't hit him with it. So you might guess what ability I went and grabbed. Nope, you guessed wrong. We actually grabbed a big snowflake and just iced him. We then move on to Shiver Star. So this world has an aesthetic, and it's a pretty one. There's something to be said about just looking at a level and being like, man, that's nice, we're happy, we're having a good day. And we get to storm a candy factory, become Naruto, which is his ability so silly to me. You throw a star, and then it explodes. What does it mean? After we break down some doors, we try not to get crushed. Then we get to fight a robot, yeah, which is in fact easily fireworked. But then we see our fairy's home planet, Ripple Star. So this boss is pretty unique. It's a dice that'll randomly get one of the 7 power-ups to use against you. I tried fighting him with fireworks, but it turns out I was a stubborn Kirby stuck in my ways, and I wasn't doing damage to him until I actually died. So then I could, you know, do the mechanic. So he can only be hurt by the power he currently has out, so you either have to suck in the ability and just shoot it back out at him, or use the ability to hit him. This does include combination power, so let's say you do have firework, you can then hurt fire and bomb. However, he doesn't like to bring out the same power up twice, so you'll either have to wait a long time or just give up the item. This boss ended up being pretty hard for me, specifically because of what of most people would consider the easiest phase. I just couldn't deal with rock form. I couldn't. The timing was so awkward for what I was used to. I would just go bonk, bonk, bonk. I died it way too many times, but eventually I persevered, and the world was saved. And then I learned something else. So it turns out to fight the true final boss and the 7th world, you then have to collect all 74 shards in the game. So approximately 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 38 seconds later, I was ready to take on the boss.
Here we go.
What? Ooh.
What?
I didn't expect Star Fox. I really just can't get hit here, can I? Shoot the bottom? Oh, I didn't even fucking notice. And then... a 2-cycle now. Oh, yo, look. Look at DDD, let's go.
Shit.
Yo, Waddle be vibing. But all in all, this game is great. I would 100% recommend going back to play Kirby 64. It's definitely just like, it's a gem from the 64 games. Like, everyone always thinks Mario 64, but like, I like this game better than Mario 64, but I'm also a Mario 64 hater because I'm bad at the game.